Axon Mini. ZTE has got a very interesting phone. Okay, not everybody will love the design. We'll come to that a little bit later, but technically very interesting because several special features, for example, force touch. Exactly the same like on the iPhone, for example. So you see here, the harder you press down, the display will recognize that. And for example, so you can here go and play with the fishes, for example. Yeah, okay, but there are real special things you can do with that. Exactly the same like on the iPhone. So if you have, for example, here the clock, just press a little bit harder, exactly like that. You have that pop-up and, for example, can do a new alert. Or in the gallery, for example, let's go here. If you have just a small a light tap, you have that preview. Like this one here, let loose, and you will be here again. Or press a little harder, and you will be in the edit mode and can do everything you want to do. Just exactly the same like on the iPhone, but just a cheaper phone. Or for example, this one here, you have the common or all of the settings, and I wanted to show this force touch setting here as you hear. And this is something the iPhone doesn't have. You can, let's say, exercise how hard you have to press, because you need a little training for that to know, okay, this is a soft touch and this is a hard touch, and especially to get the difference to just a regular touch on the iPhone. So this is kind of something I could accept as coming technology over that. But there is more. For example, you might have seen already Sky Eye. That's concerning here on the front camera. You have that eye print. So you once have to scan your eyes and then not unlock the phone. For that, we have that fingerprint sensor on the back side going way more quicker. As you might remember, I've shown you on the Mobile World Congress one of the ZTEs first with that iris scanner, and that took way too long, some 3, 4, 5 seconds just to unlock the screen. That's not possible, but it's a good idea for example here, verifying with that iris scan and going to your private apps and data. This one is not so sensitive in timing. And on the other hand, that fingerprint sensor on the back side here is really, really quick, especially you do not have to press on off standby, just tap here now. And as you see, just a second or something. Again, pressing now, yeah, maybe around about a second. And especially I tried every position over here. So once you really scanned it correctly, it's really, really precise and quickly. I love that fingerprint sensor, especially as you cannot only use it to unlock the phone, you can also, for example, go to the private area here with the security apps and security documents and so on, and especially use it as a trigger for example, for the front camera. If you do selfies, it's way better than using that virtual trigger here, because you can drop your phone with that, and here your finger is already on that position, and it's really better to use it as a trigger here, for example. Or in case the phone is like that, a call is ringing, you can do like that and have that speakers and everything to get that call, for example, just. And there is way more, of course, as you have already seen here in the settings. You have that common, bigger, or all, and especially you have, of course, these navigation key. You can change the icons here, and especially you might have already seen you can fade out that total element here, that navigation line, just swipe in back here. That can be really, really of big importance if you have app, game, for example, that's not programmed correctly. And you can have all settings here for this one under that. If you want to, you can change all of that. So from the software here, I really like that. Even if I would say these icons look very familiar. Let's go a little bit closer to get the display with that. It reminds me at Huawei, I guess, or maybe Honor brand, but nevertheless, it looks very, very familiar. But yeah, well, who knows who really did it first? So let's stick with that. By the way, I wanted to show you these ones here coming to the display, because you have a 5-inch display, 5.2 inch to be precise, or 132 millimeters. You know, the big Axon was 5.5, now 5.2 inches, and you have full HD resolution coming to 424 ppi. So that's just 4% above the average, but you see here it's good, it's okay, it's great. You don't need much more, I'd say. On the other hand, it's OLED, meaning the pixels are glowing by themselves, not lit from the backside. That's why you have this great contrast, because all the black pixels here are shut down totally, do not consume any power. That's a contrast you cannot reach with LCDs, of course. And look at that viewing angle stability. It's almost like printed on that surface here. That's something you won't reach with LCDs too, even if it's IPS dual domain or something. So quality is really, really huge. All right, it's not the brightest one. So let's go, for example, to the Play Store. Here you can see this one, it's just 388 nits. That's not too bright for LCDs. It's a lower mid range for LCDs, but for an OLED, it's 17% above the average. So for an OLED, it's really bright, not compared to an LCD. Okay, I know. And here comes always that discussion with OLED or LCD, and some people saying, oh, you can't read OLED in the bright sunlight. That's true, you can't read, but that's not only because it's OLED, it's because of this. As long as we have these highly reflecting glasses, front glasses, like on all, without any exception, all smartphones I know have this bright high reflection glasses on the front side. So it doesn't matter if you have LCD below or OLED, if it's 300 candela or 500. So you would need some 2000 nits or something to go against bright sunlight at least. So, and on the other hand, you will have, if you have a bright LCD, you can see how their battery is melting down. So I guess OLED is a great technology, good contrasts, high quality. So at least if I were you, you can do what you want, of course. I'm just giving you the facts. If I were you, I wouldn't lay my buying decision on the fact if it's OLED or not, or LCD or whatever. Yeah, well, in that case, we have to talk about the design, of course. With these over here, it's looking very, let's call it Asian for German or at least European or Western markets. I am not quite sure if you will like this looking like leather, but of course it's plastic, because this all over here, this is aluminum, this is metal. So this is feeling very great and classy, but this one here, you need to let through the antenna signals. So it's a combination of, you have to like the look or you don't. But on the other hand, I would be careful with these here, because all these dots there, these holes, can be, gather some dust or whatever. And I'm not quite sure if you ever will get that out here. So I would be careful with that. But if you love the design, go ahead. On the back side, it's the same, but here is a glass front over here. So here is not a problem of dust on that thing there. By the way, if you're here, the camera shows 13 megapixels, and you see here you have two white LEDs, and a resolution of video is 1080p, so full HD. And especially you have face detection autofocus, so at least the manufacturer is telling us that it's very quickly, very rapidly, so less than 0.1 seconds. We have to test that, of course, especially picture quality, but that sounds at least good. And front camera, 8 megapixels. Okay, videos only in 720p, but who cares? Front camera videos, don't mind at all. At least I wouldn't. Yeah, and the other thing is you should know that it's a Snapdragon 615 processor, meaning you have octa-core, 8 cores, all right, but all 8 cores are just Cortex A43, meaning that not so high powerful cores. 4 of them with 1.5 and the other 4 with 1.2 gigahertz, Adreno 405 GPU. And here we go, 3 gigabyte of RAM. So I guess in the benchmark that will follow in the final test, like always, as a text on my website, mobiwatch.net, you see here in the upper left corner. Then you will find it in round about 1 or 2 weeks, the final test with that. But for the moment, I would say it's not the best one, but not the weakest one, with a Snapdragon 615 and 3 gigabyte of RAM. Positive news I have for you concerning the memory and the slots over here, because as you can see that you have a combination slot. The first one here is for a nano SIM, the very tiny ones, and the second one you can choose between a regular micro SD card, officially up to 32 gigabyte. In most cases, you know, it's 64 or more. Or you can choose to insert here a second nano SIM upside down that way. So you have the choice between dual SIM or expanding your memory. Internal memory is quite okay for the price, I'd say 32 gigabyte, leaving a net memory of 21.9 gigabyte. By the way, this looks like stereo speakers, but it doesn't. Just on the upper right corner here, somewhere there, it's just a mono speaker of that. The other holes over here are for, I don't know, microphone, listening to calls, just for design, I don't know, mono. And you have 4G, dual SIM HSPA, Wi-Fi IC, Bluetooth just for 0, not for 1 or for 2, Bluetooth for 0, and NFC. And as I told you, coming to the battery, I have runtime tests done already, because as you can see here, this is nothing you can remove. The battery is again fixed, built in. 2000 milliamps, it's not too much, especially not for 5.2 screen. So it's a little bit problematical, let me call it like that. So the tests have been very interesting. Like I always do, it's video playback on 200 candela in flight mode. And with that, the Axon Mini made it for about 379 minutes. That's 19% below the average. So it's nothing for heavy users, I'd say. Regular users should come through the day. I'd say if you're not, like I said, brightest display and using it all the time, then you should come through the day with that. But it's getting a little bit problematical. So you really should use, for example, here that auto brightness and everything, the display and the device has to offer, but it's not the best one. Charging too, because it comes with a regular 1.5 amps charger, and with that you will need from 0 to 100% battery reload exactly 120 minutes, 2 hours. So that's 14% above the average, 14% quicker than usual, okay, but you have that 2800 amps only, so it's not the biggest battery, so of course it's not the longest charging time. So the real value you should have a look on is the relation between battery capacity and charging time. And with that, the Axon Mini is just 4% above the average. So like usual, not the slowest one, not the quickest one, no quick charge especially. So, you do not have any wireless charging with that here. So you should be a little bit careful with that. So here comes the price. At least in Germany, Europe, you will have to pay for this, and that's a premium edition, €399, but there is a standard edition with 329 euros. And some special colors for 20 bucks more. I cannot tell you at the moment, and ZTE wasn't able to tell me, at least not now, what's the difference between the standard edition and the premium edition. Maybe there are some that iris scanner, for example, not in the standard edition. We will have to wait for that. I will go deeper into that topic in my final review, like I said, as a text on mobiwatch.net. But for the moment, I just wanted to give you that quick first impression of the ZTE Axon Mini with Force Touch. Yeah, thanks for watching. Take care and bye.